5-minute film in a healthy society, right?
Yeah.
You go find a bunch of people. What does a woman get an answer? Thanks everybody for watching and have a nice day. Instead it was a huge melodrama and you go to Africa and talk to that freak for a minute.
It could have been a 3.5 hour film. We had to cut it down. The editing room was really tough because there was.
I told Jeremy you guys should still release some of the edited clips because, and I'm sure they would go viral because I can imagine that there was just so much when you went to Women's March and all that. But one of the things I really appreciated about the film, which could be its own like 8-minute YouTube video, is how you go from Kinsey and you go to all these different people of what they thought, what they believed. And so I'm going to zero in on what you just said, and then we'll go to Kinsey. We'll go to what's the guy with the twins? I forgot his name. Money? Yeah, Money. That's right. Which I found to be just breathtaking. More with Matt Walsh, live from America Fest, Turning Point USA's event in Phoenix. We'll be right back.
This is Dennis Prager inviting you to join me for a memorable travel opportunity that will be a highlight of your life. Mike Gallagher and I are headed again back to Israel in October for the Stand with Israel tour. Join us along with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. We'll visit key sites in the Holy Land, thoughtfully designed to give you unprecedented access to a region you may have only read about. Visit standwithisraeltour.com for details. We'll uncover important geopolitical sites and show you Israel's significance on the world stage. You'll step foot on the ancient streets of Jerusalem, sail the Sea of Galilee, pray at the Western Wall, and much more. We'll have guides specifically for our group, lavish accommodations, and I will even broadcast my show from Israel. No other trip will be like the Stand with Israel tour. Come with Mike Gallagher and me this October. Register today. Call 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519, or just go to standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com.
Want to be as healthy and happy as you can be in 2023? Tune into the Healthiest Hour on Radio. Hi, it's the Snowman inviting you to join us this Saturday morning for a stellar lineup of guests and information to help you get into the best shape of your life while increasing your energy and losing a few pounds in the process. Make those New Year's resolutions stick by sticking with us all year long to keep your mind and body healthy and strong. It's Stephen Snow on Dr. Health Radio this Saturday morning at 9 here on 860 AM. The Answer.
Are you tired of residential tenancy laws in California and wish there was a better way to invest in real estate? Hi, I'm Matt Hagar, president of Intero Commercial East Bay. We specialize in helping residential property owners transition their portfolios into commercial assets leased to tenants such as Walgreens, Starbucks, and the U.S. government. These properties offer around 3 times the cash flow of a single-family investment, and all expenses are paid by the tenant. If you'd like to know more, visit Hagar.group. That's Hagar.group.
If you want to invest your money and grow your wealth, just listen to Phil Grant.
Hi, I'm Phil Grant at philsgang.com. There's many reasons to listen to a radio show, but I think to listen to my show, you get the truth. You get clarity, and you get great information.
No matter what level of investor you are, Phil's Gang strategies for investing are designed to put you on the path to success.
You know what? Most of all, it's fun. philsgang.com. Clarity, good information, and fun.
What aren't we being told about the COVID-19 scenario, about covert climate engineering operations that are wreaking havoc with weather all over the world, about the totality of unfolding and accelerating global environmental collapse? If you're willing to face and investigate shocking and verifiable realities that mainstream media sources and their distracting divide talking heads will never tell you, tune into the commercial-free, non-political global alert news hour, Sunday 4 p.m. on AM 860 The Answer. Visit Dave Wiggington or GRadio.com.
There's still time for business owners to claim their federal aid under the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. Cash refunds of up to $26,000 per employee are available for employers who continue to pay their employees during the COVID epidemic. Many businesses qualify and simply do not know it. All business types and industries may qualify. You can claim the credit even if you received a PPP loan. This is a cash payment and not a loan and can be claimed now. Licensed CPAs and tax professionals at Ferguson, Timar and Associates have been serving business owners across the country for over 15 years. The best part is that until you receive your cash payment, you don't pay us a dime. Our tax credit specialists are available now at 833-ERC-FILE, and your tax payment estimate is quick, easy, and free. That's 833-ERC-FILE to qualify you and your business for up to $26,000 per employee of free federal aid. Call us ERCFILE. That's 833-ERCFILE.
Streaming at 860amtheanswer.com. Our free mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and the Odyssey app. This is 860 AM, The Answer.
It's time again for the Kindness Challenge sweepstakes, and you have the opportunity to win $5,000, plus give $5,000 in your name to a deserving organization. Enter now at our website, 860amtheanswer.com, where you can also get the contest rules and sign up for the Answer VIP Club.
860amtheanswer.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keisha Stevens. According to two current senior U.S. officials and one former administration official, the Chinese spy balloon that flew across the U.S. was able to gather intelligence from several sensitive American military sites, despite the Biden administration's claims to the contrary. According to sources, the Chinese balloon made multiple passes over some of the sites and transmitted the information back to Beijing in real time. More severe storms and tornadoes are forecast to hit parts of the U.S. this week, with the highest risk in the Midwest and the South. The storms are likely to hit as early as today. Severe weather follows weekend storms that produced tornadoes that killed at least 30 people. Connecticut wins its fifth NCAA men's basketball national championship. The fourth seeded Huskies defeated the fifth seeded San Diego State 76-59. This is SRN News.
Welcome back to more of my conversation with Matt Walsh. Mid-20th century, they came up with this idea of gender. Who did, and what was their philosophical justification?
Well, it wasn't just one guy, but the guy that I would consider, not gender ideology, is John Money. He coined some of these phrases, like gender identity, as the phrase comes from the idea of people having a gender distinct sex. He was one of the pioneers of that idea. And he was a mid-20th century sexologist in the, kind of the same school of thought of Alfred Kinsey. But he had more of a focus on gender. And he believed that gender is entirely a social phenomenon, and so it's something that we kind of give to people. And so he thought that boys are boys because that's what we have decided as a society that they are. And so if you take a boy and just tell him he's a girl, that's what society tells him, and it will reflect that. And the case that the famed infamous case we talked a little bit about in the film, although this could be its own movie. Yeah, it could be. It should be. So much to make it. But this was an infamous case where there was twin boys, and they had a circumcision, and for one of the boys it was horribly botched, and they essentially burned his penis off. And parents didn't know what to do about this, and so they were watching TV one day, and they see John Money saying all these things about how, gender is a social construct. You can make it whatever gender you want. And they go to him, and he tells them, well, we'll do a C surgery, and you'll simply raise the boy as a girl. And that's exactly what they tried to do, but it didn't hold. Because why? Because he's testosterone, and somehow he's still a boy. That's exactly right. And then he committed suicide or something terrible. Somebody did, right? Both of the brothers ended up early deaths in adulthood. Eventually, the brother that was transitioned decided to transition back when he was in his adolescence, early teens. And he eventually got married, and he tried to get his life together, but just what had been done to him by John Money, and he also brought the twins in and did these sexually abusive experiments. The whole story is absolutely horrifying, but he ruined these two boys, and they both ended up in adulthood killing themselves. And he's still taken seriously, Money? Yeah, I think people aren't aware of this story. There's no interest in, who's going to tell the story? We can tell it, but you're not going to learn about it in schools. The public school system isn't going to sit the kids down and tell them. Oprah is not going to do a special on John Money. Yeah. When we tell everybody in our book club about John Money, actually it's going to happen. The interesting thing is that she actually did. Back when she was a real journalist. Right. Back 20 years ago. Back 20 years ago, she had... fat Oprah, not old Oprah. Exactly, yeah. Back when you could talk about these things, she actually had this Bruce Reimer on to talk about his experiences. But I'm sure if you were to check back with her now about gender, she doesn't. Yeah, I don't think she'd want to do it. But so then that's another interesting point before we go more deeper into the history is you just said we used to be able to talk about these things. So old Oprah had an interesting show. That used to be something you could talk about. How is it that gender ideology has become this
prohibited to talk about than, I don't know, black crime.
I think it's the number one. It's the ultimate third rail, and it's the number one thing you're not allowed to talk about because it's. I think it's so fundamental to the left's cultural project that they can't allow you to question it, because if you start to question it and you start to be skeptical about it, then the whole house of cards comes tumbling down, I think. Because what lays at the root of gender ideology, there's a reason why in the film, if you watch the film, every single conversation I had with someone on that side would eventually devolve into this kind of Pontius Pilate, what is truth thing.
Yes.
That's what lies at the bottom of it, is this project of relativism. We all get our own truth.
Planned Parenthood v. Casey, man.
Right, exactly. And so if they allow us to assert that, well, actually there are some fundamental truths, like human biology is a fundamental truth, then there's some fundamental truth, and then the kind of dominoes fall from there.
That's very insightful, and it's totally true. So, for those of you who don't know, Anthony Kennedy was the deciding vote at 91-92, right? Planned Parenthood v. Casey, which very well could have struck a decisive vote against Roe, and he has this incoherent psychobabble, where he's an otherwise pretty smart guy, where he basically says every person in the modern world can define what they know to be truth in your own existence. It's something like that, right? I mean, it was...
worse to that effect, yeah.
Yeah, like that meaning is what you make it in the modern world, and that's who we are as the modern, right? Versus the ancient post-enlightenment. And he says, therefore, if you want to have an abortion, then it's right in your eyes, and someone else it might not be right in your eyes. And so you're right, that there's, in your film, and this is the philosophical part of this, is who are we to say that if there's anything that is true? Essentially, they believe there is no absolute truth. But then if you ask them if they believe that absolutely, they would say, of course. Their rejection of absolute truth actually is absolutely true in their own belief. But where does that come from? Because that really is the underpinning of it. That it's deconstructionist, it's Rousseauian. I mean, it's
in some ways it's ancient. I mean, you could trace it all the way back to the
Lucifer.
Yeah, you could trace it back to the Garden of Eden if you want, and before that. There's another exchange that I don't think made it in where I'm talking to women on the same stretch of road there, same kind of conversation, and I don't think I took it there. This is just where they took it. But like different shit. So, well, there's no truth. And we were standing right next to a lamppost, and I said, what if it's my truth that this lamppost doesn't exist? Like I'm touching the lamppost, and I just walked through it, and they were a little bit stumped by that. I don't think that they exactly said yes, but they didn't say no either. That's because I'm agnostic on the question. Right. Agnostic about whether you can walk through the lamppost. If you really believe it, then you can. It's like Peter Pan. I believe you can fly, sort of thing. But it's not a fully formed idea. It can't be, because it's fundamentally incoherent. But they just can't allow themselves to confront the possibility that maybe there is a truth that is outside of them, that there are things in the world that are not subject to their own egotistical whims. They can't allow themselves to consider that possibility, because then, again, it's the dominoes fall.
Yeah, and what I would say to those young ladies is, preach what you practice. Obviously you believe it. You wouldn't get in a car if you didn't believe that you just run every red light. Like, my belief, I'm going to be fine.
Right. Not only do they believe in physical truth, obviously, because they wouldn't be able to function, but they believe in moral truth. They believe in natural law, whether they want to say they do or not.
Shackles of reality, right?
Exactly. If you were to ask them, there's a violent rapist who's, in court, like, did he do something wrong? They would say, of course he did. It would be offended that you even ask the question. Even though the implications of their own belief system is that you cannot say that the rapist did anything wrong, because that's his truth, that it's okay to rape. But but they cannot accept that, obviously, that's a horrific thing. So, this is the tension. This is the war that they're sort of waging within their own minds, and it's why they're so confused. And we kind of laugh about it, and there are funny moments in the film and everything, but it's also quite disturbing, especially when you think that there are kids are succumbing to this every single day. And if you go on TikTok, you see all the libs of TikTok, and again, it could be funny, but also at the same time, these are kids. Tragic. These are kids who are in the middle of a full-blown identity crisis, a generational-wide identity crisis that's happening, and it's claiming an entire generation of kids to a degree that we've never seen before in human history. And we can't even imagine where this goes. I mean, this generation of kids, their trans identification, LGBT identification has risen like 20-fold over their grandparents' generation. What does it look like 20 years from now? What does that generation look like 20 years from now? Trying to live this way. How does that translate? I think we're going to see, for one thing, an epidemic of suicide in 10 to 15 years that is just breathtaking.
So, Kinsey, this is one of the most powerful parts of the film. I'll be very honest, I'd heard his name a couple times, didn't take it seriously. I went on a total, Kinsey research spree after the film. This guy is one of the most evil people, I think, in the modern world, if not in recorded human history. Tell us about him.
Yeah, he's if John Money is the godfather of gender ideology, then I think that Kinsey is the godfather of the sexual revolution. And he believed, he was working around the same time as John Money, a little bit before him, I believe. He started his career. But he believed that first of all, babies are sexual. Everyone is sexual from birth.
The only unnatural sex act for a human being is that which they cannot perform.
Right. And everything else is fine. So we cannot make any moral judgments at all about any kind of sexual act that anyone wants to participate in, according to Kinsey, including bestiality and pedophilia and all the rest of it. That we are born from birth to be sexual creatures. And not only that, but he believes that kind of what we consider to be traditional, normal sexuality and sexual relationships, men and women, making babies, that this was, it's like he believes it was kind of this false image that we've been given that this is normal, that in reality these alternative lifestyles are much more common. And I forget what his exact statistics were, but he did these studies and he would declare that large percentage of the population is homosexual, large percentage of the population does this, and I think
crazy numbers, right?
Huge numbers. And then you look into his research and you go, well, where do you get these numbers from? Well, he wasn't interviewing normal cross sections of the public,
like insane asylums.
He was going to prisons. He was talking to sex offenders. That's what he was doing, and he was extrapolating from that. He was making extrapolations about the general population based on that. But even more horrifying was this stuff about how babies are sexual from birth, and he ran experiments to confirm that as well. And he would bring in pedophiles, and he would have them sexually abuse children, and then document it. And so there's the infamous Table 34, which is in his book, Sexual Behavior in Human Male, which was his first book. And it claims to document the orgasms of children all the way down to, I think the youngest was 5 months old. And so he would have these pedophile rapists raping these children and then taking notes. And they would bring the notes into Kinsey, and he would sit there and they would talk about it, and then he would send them out to do more. It's just, yes, I agree, one of the most evil people in human history, especially when you look at the effect that he's had on the culture. And yet, I mean, the Kinsey Institute is still a thing
at Indiana University.
Right.
We'll be right back with more of my conversation with Matt Walsh.
Hello, everyone. Fred Schreier here for Balance7.com. Do you suffer from low energy, acid reflux, heartburn, joint discomfort, or a weak immune system? Well, Balance 7 is your answer. Balance 7 dilutes the acid in your body and kickstarts your immune system. That's right. 3 sips a day is all you need. In 3 days, you will feel the difference. Balance 7 is my go-to drink to energize me every day. Stop taking those caffeinated